Personally, what I find is the path that I was trying to walk with him is still developing. He left us like a trail of gold, full of blessings. And gradually it's revealing itself. Rinpoche left everything for us, just need to follow, just continue, just do the same thing, just do my practices. You want to meet me, do the practice.
Hello, and welcome to Life with a Lama Healer. Today we have part 2 with Lama Caroline, and I'm so excited that we got to continue this conversation because she's filled with so much wisdom, so many practical applications to put into our life to live a more peaceful, joyful, loving, compassionate life. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Lama Caroline. Hello, and welcome to Life with a Lama Healer. We're really excited about this new podcast about the life of the great Tibetan Lama, Lama Gangchen Rinpoche, who was born in 1941 in Tibet and trained by many of the greatest Tibetan masters. He traveled to the West in the 1980s, bringing with him the inner peace teachings of the Buddha. Lama was one of the greatest living humanitarians and spiritual masters of our time, and part of an unbroken lineage dating all the way back 2,500 years to Shakyamuni Buddha. So our vision in creating this podcast is really to preserve and share the remarkable stories about Lama Gangchen's extraordinary life. We'll interview senior students and longtime followers who worked with Lama Gangchen, traveled with him, studied with him, witnessed and experienced his incredible healings and miracles. So these stories, they're really precious jewels and inspire us to really see what's possible when we follow the inner peace teachings of the Buddha. So it's a real honor and privilege to bring these stories to you and the methods that really help us to reframe our sufferings, which brings us more inner calm, the ability to be more in the present moment with less stress and anxiety and fear, and experience more joy in our life and more peaceful in our life and more meaning really in our life. So please stay tuned for our conversations from this very, very rich spiritual heritage coming out of Tibet and the incredibly joyful, inspiring, mind-blowing, funny, touching stories about the remarkable life of a Lama healer, our beloved Lama Gangchen. Life with a Lama healer. What were one of the places that you traveled to, Lama Caroline, that made a real strong impact on you? You traveled all around the world with Lama Gangchen. What was one place that was really special for you?
One is impossible to say. Each country has something beautiful. Rinpoche liked to go to holy places. He went to every possible Buddhist holy place in the world, plus as many Christian and pagan. He went everywhere. So we went to many, many, many different places. But then also I went to jail, went to a woman's jail
Really?
one time in Australia. That was very moving. Yeah. First, they didn't want to talk to us. But then Rinpoche said, actually, I was in jail. I was in jail for 2 years, and then they completely opened up, and it was a very beautiful meeting.
Wow, he related to them.
Yeah, it's like incredible.
He was in jail in Tibet?
In Tibet, yeah, for 2 years after the
Cultural Revolution.
In the Cultural Revolution. So many holy places, so many wonderful people. It's not just the place, right? It's the people. Also, Rinpoche introduced us to so many special people, holy people. I mean, many, hundreds and hundreds of lamas. One person that comes to my mind is Mother Teresa. She made a big impression on me.
Yeah, in India.
Yeah, I mean, I must say, like, before we went to her mother house and saw her, I was not too much, let's say, fan of Christianity, but then I saw the truth, actually, of their teaching. And then after that, Rinpoche made me go to study interreligious studies. I thought, no, yes. And so I went and did it.
You're an interfaith minister, right?
I'm a Buddhist minister, yeah, but I have a degree in interreligious studies and also Buddhist studies, yeah. But
Beautiful.
Actually, it's really, really important to appreciate other people's culture and their view and also see the good in each tradition. So actually, it was a good thing that Rinpoche made me do that.
Yeah, right? To see the similarities. When he would come to the United Nations in New York, having these interfaith dialogues for peace. It was such a strong teaching for me and all of us that no matter what your religion was or your philosophy was, that we can all come together and align on peace, that peace is important in our families and in communities.
Also, Rinpoche really meant it. It was not a posture, it was true. That was truly his belief.
Yes.
That spiritual people should naturally get together and do something for the planet, for peace. Yeah, that was, he's like, why aren't they doing it?
And actually, he was very much a pioneer in this way, don't you think?
Yeah.
He was bringing together people from all different.
Yeah.
At one time, we had this interfaith service at St. Bartholomew's Church on Park Avenue. Remember that in New York?
Yes.
It was right in September, right around the General Assembly time. And I think there was 300 people from different faiths. And they had this beautiful service at St. Bartholomew's Church, which is this gorgeous, not a cathedral, but it's a very impressive church. And Rinpoche was so happy that day to see this manifest. You remember that? It was so beautiful.
Yeah, of course. Yes, I do. I remember so many things. Like there's that book of Gurdjieff, Meeting Remarkable People. With Rinpoche, we met many, many remarkable people, special people in all fields, which is nice to know there are so many, actually.
Yes, right. Right. There are people who have this goodness, and who are doing good work.
It's good who are manifesting it, so the world is not lost, actually. There's many positive people. They just don't get so much in the media, unfortunately. And media tends to focus on the negative.
Oh, so much negativity, and it's so one-sided. I had a really interesting conversation one time, though, Lama Caroline, with a client of mine who's a CEO of a company and very beautiful person, has so much empathy and compassion for others and always wants to do good work for people, to help people. So we were talking about Mother Teresa and Lama Gangchen, and she was very curious about these people who devote their lives to serving others. And she said, why is it that people don't really want to be like them, though? We want to be the CEO, or we want to be a celebrity, or we want to be an artist. Why is it that people aren't following in the path of these great bodhisattvas, these great humanitarians? That was a really interesting question.
Well, maybe we just don't know. Maybe people just don't have these examples. That's why for me it was very important to see a real living example of somebody like this.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's possible, it's true. Like I say, there's many of these people. One time Rinpoche introduced me to somebody, we were in Kathmandu, and we were in his labrang, his house in Chabul in Kathmandu. And there came one Tibetan guy, and he was wearing like a kind of dirty old anorak, very simple. And then Rinpoche said, okay, he said, actually, this is one Rinpoche that, because of the Cultural Revolution, was never enthroned, so now he works taking care of a leprosy center. And I said, oh, hello, nice to meet you. And then he said, look in the light at his head. He was by the window, so if you looked in his head under his skin, he had letter Om, yeah?
Really?
But it wasn't like he'd done it,
Uh-huh.
It was naturally, his bone had formed that shape.
Wow.
It wasn't like what they call it these days, like an implant,
Yeah.
Or some kind of tattoo modification. No, his bone here had formed an Om because of the incredible saintliness of his mind.
Wow.
Like I say, he was supposed to be a great spiritual leader, but in fact he didn't have a monastery, so he just spent his time taking care of lepers.
Incredible.
So like this, I met many incredible people.
Wow.
Fortunately, there's many outstanding places, many outstanding people in every country. Rinpoche was very much into this idea of the Shambhala culture, the rising of the positive in the age of Aquarius, which is actually predicted in the Buddhist Tantras.
And he attracted those people.
Yeah. Anyway, so we need to just focus on that. Whatever you're doing, there's many ways to be a positive person. Just keep on that. Be on the side of light. Don't succumb to the side of darkness.
Yeah, follow that way. It's a much more fulfilling life, much more happy life and beneficial life.
This CEO friend of yours said, oh, why don't people do that? Well, I think if they actually met somebody like Rinpoche or one of these people, they would immediately want to do it, just they never met them. I've got one very rich friend, and he said, one time he said to us, he said, I can buy anything I want in the whole world, but what I want is what you've got, Lama Gangchen. I said, that I can't buy.
Yeah, that inner joy.
Yeah. Well, that whole thing is not available for sale, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, right.
I think people just don't want to do it because they don't know it exists or it's possible. And I'm sure if they did, they would be much, much more interested.
Yeah. And that's why I think sharing these stories is so important, because then you say, oh, that's possible? Really? I want to meet someone like that. I want to have a firsthand experience of someone like that. And I think the people who actually do, who have the fortune to have met Lama Gangchen and some of these other saints, Amachi, also an incredible Indian saint. it opens up in your mind that, wow, it's possible to have that incredible kind of love and to emanate that incredible kind of love.
So, for example, Rinpoche, he used to go to the dentist in Brazil. So he had to do a lot of root canal work, but he insisted on doing it without any anesthetic.
Wow.
Okay, so, and why? Because he could enter into a deep state of concentration, you know. I mean, can you imagine how horrible? I definitely would not have it without anesthetic myself, but he did the
Yeah,
whole thing
so painful.
without anesthetic, yeah, just meditating. And then the dentist was like, oh, I want to become a Buddhist. And became a Buddhist, and we're still friends with him.
Incredible.
Because you
Wow.
were talking before about suffering. So even if you have terrible suffering, there's a way to put your mind in a different place.
I remember Rinpoche telling me this story of when he was a boy in Tibet. They had this tug of war with the other boys, and some boys were on one side of the rope and the other boys were on the other side of the rope. And he said, I wanted to kind of show how strong he was. And he pulled the rope and pulled all the other boys because he was so strong. But he ended up breaking his leg.
He broke his lower ankle, just above his ankle.
And he lived very far away from where the doctor was. And so for 2 days, he was in this incredible pain with his leg. Do you remember this story?
Yeah, oh, yes. I mean, but in Tibetan tradition, they have very good ways to set bones and to heal them. And they have many ways to heal the body, which we don't have in the West. It's very unfortunate that Tibetan medicine is not recognized, should be recognized as Chinese medicine, right? But it's not.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like me, when I tell you one story, personal story, I was about 27, 28, I developed rheumatoid arthritis. Everything was like hurting, all my joints and fever. I thought, this is terrible. I don't want to live like this. So I went to Rinpoche and then do self-healing. He gave me some medicine, and 6 months completely gone. And since then, nothing disappeared.
Never came back.
Nothing.
Wow.
So it's possible to cure things that are considered incurable in the Western system.
And you also had an experience in a plane, right?
Yes, I did. I had survived a plane crash in a Cessna. I was going from Albagnano with some Swiss friends. Yeah, they had a Cessna, a small plane. We went first to Ibiza, where at the time we had a centre, and then we were flying to Andalusia. But unfortunately, here in the Mediterranean, there's a very strong wind that comes up when you're around Malaga. So the plane was blown and crashed into a mountain. And we were the only ones ever to survive this kind of crash, We were on the news.
Really? So it was a common thing that there'd be crashes there.
People die in planes. Nobody had ever been found alive before, but we were the ones found alive.
Wow.
But the day before, actually, Rinpoche had prayed for us very strongly. So, yes, and also, actually, many years later, I became more interested in astrology. So then I looked at my map, and actually I was supposed to die at that time. So, yes.
On that day?
Prayers of great lamas.
Or
on that age,
period?
I was 42, more or less. It was a time when I'd be danger to die, but I didn't. So many things are impossible possible.
Yes. Wow. Was that a Vedic astrology?
Vedic, yeah. But I mean, it's the same in the Kala Chakra. No, it's basically Vedic astrology with Buddhism added.
Yes.
The outer Kala Chakra, yeah.
Yeah, it's a very rich.
With Rinpoche, we had a theme, let's say peace, and for the whole year we would go around the world doing about peace, 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 peace in every country, or self-healing in every place. Also this idea to democracy, to give everybody the same. No? On the year Rinpoche was doing peace education, going everywhere, peace with this, peace with that. And I woke up one day, and across my face was all like red, like a cat had scratched me. And everybody said, oh, what happened to your face? I said, I've no idea. Looked in the mirror, it was like these big, like red scratches. And I thought, oh, I know what this is. This is from when I was 9. When I was 9 at school, I had a fight with some other children who were jealous of me because I was like the clever kid.
Yeah.
And one of them scratched my face like this. So I had like cut my face down like a cat.
Yeah.
So obviously that had healed when I was 9. Okay, but inside something hadn't healed. So Rinpoche used to always talk about this thing of unresolved karma. He used to call it karma bomb.
Yeah.
That's in our subconscious. And he said, if we don't heal this unmanifest karma, then sooner or later we will get sick. We'll have a problem in life and don't understand why.
Mm-hmm.
So because I was there all the time with Rinpoche, peace with this, peace with that, world peace, making peace with everybody and every type of people in society, like all the time. Then somehow it touched that part of my subconscious. Let's say in the West we call it a trauma, right? Don't we?
Yes.
So that trauma was healed, and therefore, even though I didn't know, that trauma was still physically in my body.
Yeah.
It manifested physically.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is a very fascinating thing, actually. Because when you practice meditation, it's not just one time. Again and again and again, we're processing. I mean, we're in samsara, right? So many things have happened in our life, and actually many lives.
Many lives.
So when you meditate, many things come up. You appear, not always, not so nice things, then disappear and they're liberated. So each time it's like a healing.
To be free from it. Yeah. So you're free from that memory now.
So each time it's kind of like deleting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like making space on your mental computer.
Yeah.
So this you do in continuation, actually, when you meditate.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just one time, it's a continuous self-healing process.
And around Rinpoche, it felt like these things would move very quickly and powerfully. These imprints that are on our minds from either our childhood or past lives.
Yes, I think Rinpoche had this ability to, let's say, bring them to the surface, like as a healer, his prayers, his practices, and then people could get better a lot more quickly. One ability that he had was if he looked at you or anybody, he could see your karma. So if he saw somebody in the room, because I used to assist him when he had the patients as well. So if somebody came in and let's say they have something wrong with their shoulder, he could see in their aura, he could see what was wrong. So he could see immediately, like, which organ, which part of the body something was wrong, because he could see it on them, And I used to ask him, like, Rinpoche, how do you do that? Tell me how to do it.
I want to do that.
Yeah, and he said, I'm sorry, I was born like this. So ever since I'm a child, I just look at somebody, I see their body and I can see what's wrong, or there's part missing, or they used to say like this, part of their body is missing because there's something sick. So he could see immediately, like he didn't need like an MRI scanner, he could just look at you and diagnose you like that. And also, you could see people's karma, karma, their actions in the past. So it was always somebody came in, oh, I'm sick, or I don't know, I have this problem, and he would say, yes, yes. Then he'd say, when you were 16, what happened? Then he'd think, what happened? Then they would remember,
yeah,
they had some traumatic, unresolved emotional event, yeah?
That happened to them, yes. I remember one time I brought one of my clients at the time. We had to go to Venice for some conference, and she was an executive at American Express. And she really wanted to meet Lama because she said, the way you talk and how you're living your life, I want to have more of that in my life. I said, well, the person who taught me more of a peaceful kind of life is Lama Gangchen. Please come with me. Since we're going to Italy, we'll go meet him. So we went up to Alpignano. She always had this chronic cough, especially when she would start to express herself, express her opinion or express herself in life, in meetings, and always this cough. And then she'd have to clear her throat and then she'd be able to talk. And Rinpoche said to her, when you were 21 years old, you had something traumatic happen in your life. And that was the beginning of this cough. And about 6 months later, she said to me, I didn't know what he was talking about when he said that. She said, but over time I thought about it and I realized that when I was 21 was when I got married and I had a very difficult marriage. And so she was able to process, what had happened during that time to create this cough. And actually with me too, short time after I met Rinpoche, I remember I had these very severe bags under my eyes. I was only in my 30s. So, usually you see this kind of thing in someone who's in their, 60s, like me now. But then, I had these big bags. And he said, something happened to you when you were 28 that was traumatic with your family. And it made me thinking. And I remembered something that did happen with my family that was a big shock for me. And I was 28. It was really, really powerful how he had this ability to see these things, right?
But let me emphasize that Rinpoche wanted to empower as many people as possible maybe to be exactly like that. It's a little difficult now because you have like centuries of practice. But anyway, to give us the method so that we can empower ourselves, so we can be healers, we can take care of the others in a much more profound way. So, I mean, yeah, he was amazing, but the whole thing of Buddhism is it's replicable.
Yeah, so please tell us, Lama Caroline, you're now one of the successors to Lama Gangchen, his heart daughter. Is that what you call? Heart daughter, you and Lama Michelle passing on the lineage and spreading Lama's teachings around the world. Because I've witnessed you have this incredible energy, this abundance of energy and enthusiasm to help people, and even more so now since he left his body. Can you share with us what that's been like for you to be able to embody a lot of his energy to then continue and help so many people?
When Rinpoche passed away, there was absolutely no choice but to try and help everybody. People were in a very difficult situation with the pandemic. We traveled the whole world for years and years, building up many friends around the world, many groups. So I just thought, I need to help Rinpoche's friends, Rinpoche's disciples. So I just started doing a lot of Zooming. I was thinking about this today, actually. On Rinpoche's phone, I only had like 1,500 people. Now I also have 1,500. I don't know if they're the same ones, but
You do. 1,500 contacts, right?
yeah, who actually call me,
Yeah, who call you? Wow.
But I mean, look, that's it. What to do? This is what we're here for. Buddhism is about our job is to serve the others. If I wanted an easy life, I would have chosen something else to do.
Yes.
Not this.
Right.
But anyway, I'm very happy,
Yeah, you're very joyful doing it.
I mean, Rinpoche he left this incredible legacy. 30 years ago, actually, in 1993, he made me his lineage holder. I was like, what? Are you sure? And he said, yes.
What was the year?
1993.
93, okay.
Yeah, so this is my 30th anniversary, actually.
30th year, yeah.
Yeah. So gradually, okay, at first I was like, oh my God, but I thought, no, it's good. And I just continued to work, to learn, and then teach more. So, I mean, for me, it's a great privilege to have this responsibility to continue Rinpoche's beautiful and unique healing practices for as long as I can, this life, next life. I will do my best. Also, Lama Michel, I've known him since he was a little boy, actually. And I've watched him grow into the great man he now is. So we both have very different educational backgrounds and styles, but we are very good friends. We have our own way of doing things, which are both valid and authenticated by Lama Gangchen many, many times. Hopefully the idea is that our approaches are complementary. I think maybe that was Rinpoche's idea.
Oh, I think it definitely is. Definitely is complementary.
I mean, Rinpoche used to say very often, in every valley there's a Lama and each one teaches in their own way. Very obviously, I'm very influenced by Rinpoche. So fully busy for the rest of my life trying to do that.
And many more lives coming, yeah.
I mean, anyway, but what else is there to do, really? I mean, if we just sit on our own sofa watching Netflix, we're going to die of terminal boredom.
Yeah, right.
The meaning of life is to make the world a better place, take care of the environment, bring some light to somebody else. That's living.
Yeah, that's the joyful life, the meaningful life.
Maybe I know more about it because I've spent 30 years full time on this, but his legacy, he wanted everybody to have access to it. That's why I appealed for sponsors to help me get it out there, because it's not just for me, or for Lama Michel. Like Rinpoche, when we first start teaching self-healing, we used to do things like go in shopping centres,
yeah,
like malls and things, and do self-healing.
And discos. Remember the disco in Rimini we went to?
Discos,
right?
yes. Swaps, anywhere. Parliaments, anywhere. Stonehenge, you would go anywhere, and people would get interested in what he was doing. He wasn't interested that you have to convert to Buddhism or follow him, because this is a method that works. He just wanted to get it out there.
Yeah, make it accessible to everyone.
Actually, one thing that he said to me is that he would actually thought that after he died, he would become more popular and more famous. It's what probably is usually true, isn't it?
Yeah.
He was very avant-garde, a kind of visionary.
Yes.
So often with people like that, it takes some time for society to appreciate.
Making peace with the environment.
Making peace with the environment.
Making peace with Amazonia.
Making peace with Amazonia.
Making peace 5 elements.
Making peace with the 5 elements.
Making peace with the earth element.
Making peace with the earth element.
Making peace with the wind element.
Making peace with the wind element.
Making peace with the water element.
Making peace with the water element.
Making peace with the fire element.
Making peace with the fire element.
Making peace with the space element.
Making peace with the space element.
Mentally healthy.
Mentally healthy.
Physically healthy.
Physically healthy.
Inner peace.
Inner peace.
World peace.
World peace.
Now and forever.
Now and forever.
By all the human beings' attention.
By all the human beings' attention.
By all the holy beings' blessing.
By all the holy beings' blessings.
By Guru Shakyamuni Buddha's blessing.
By Guru Shakyamuni Buddha's blessings.
By the power of the truth.
By the power of the truth.
Violence culture be transformed into non-violence culture.
Violent culture be transformed into non-violent culture.
Everything with peace.
Everything with peace.
Please.
Please.
Yeah, he was so accessible, and he made so many of the practices easy to understand. Even if, like, say, for example, some people, with the self-healing practice, maybe they don't understand, the meaning of it right in the beginning. But he would always just make it joyful and accessible, like you said. Remember, I'll never forget the time we went to the disco in Rimini.
Oh, yes, I
And
do remember that, yes.
yeah, and here the lights are going, and then this man's announcing him and the music, and then he gets up on stage and he starts doing the self-healing practice and kind of dancing, the way that he did. And I think there was many new people there that maybe was the first time meeting him, but he would just meet us where we are and show us the light, this incredible, peaceful, loving, joyful way of living, and meet us where we are.
Yes, very avant-garde in many ways, really. Of course, all this was before internet, before Instagram. We didn't even have a camera most of the time. But actually, I'm glad, to be honest, because I think nowadays the Dharma is too much on the internet sometimes. Sometimes these special moments, Rinpoche used to say, you take the photo with your mind, keep in your heart. It was a different moment.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I remember one time being in Tibet and I had a video camera with me. And of course, I wanted to document a lot of the things that I was witnessing. And in fact, just a few weeks ago, I found on an old computer these amazing clips of Rinpoche in Tibet that I'm going to share on our Facebook page. But I was taking this video in the camera and I'm going, we're in the monastery and the monks, lined up one after another, after another, after another, doing this puja. And it was such a beautiful sight. And I'm taking video of them as I'm walking down this alleyway with the monks on either side. And I remember stopping and going, I need to put down this camera and just be in this moment. Just, make that imprint on my mind and experience this.
I think if you've got anybody listening who's thinking of coming to Al Bagnano or one of our centres, when we have these big spiritual events, its point is to meditate. We already have enough. Honestly, there's enough photos, enough this, enough that. Now it's just the time to meditate, to try and change your mind.
Yeah, really be present.
Yeah, and then try and enact an inner transformation. The point is this. Then you actually benefit from the situation.
Yeah, really be present, not to think about how am I going to share this. We just keep making that deeper imprints on our mind to transform our mind. Can you share a little bit about how special Al Bagnano is? What a beautiful holy place it is.
Rinpoche, many, many years ago, he had a vision of a place with 5 mountains behind, a lake in front, and there were also some other signs. I forgot the whole story. So then for many years, he was looking for this place with 5 mountains behind and a lake, a river, a sea in front. We got Al Bagnano in 1999. It was like an eco-tourism place, and then because they have many water springs there, they had cows there and it was polluting the water source, so they had to close down the eco-tourism. So then we had the opportunity to buy at auction, the centre, the Rinpoche house. Over the years, yes, we have many masters, many feng shui experts coming telling us there is the phoenix, there is the dragon, there is this and there is that between 2 rivers. And so energetically, it's a very powerful place. Also it was a place where the druids were before. But of course, the main powerful thing was Rinpoche and the other great masters that he attracted. Rinpoche used to say, of course, a place can bless you, but you can bless a place. So he was blessing it. I think every place he was, there's a powerful vibration. Of course, also his kudung, his holy body is there, in the stupa. So definitely some incredible, powerful vibration is there for sure. But like a few days ago, 2-3 days ago, here in Malaga, we're looking for a new place for our self-healing group. So we see many places, and we go to one place. I should say, this place is like an old school, little school from the 1940s. This place has got really nice energy. Let's do this. And then they offered, and we said, okay, we'll take this one. So then when we were going out, then like 100 yards down the road, Jose Maria said, this is the first house where Rinpoche stayed in Malaga. There was a big villa that we'd been lent. I was there, and there was a tower, and Rinpoche slept in this tower. I thought, of course, this is why this place has got such a good feeling. So, yes, of course, Al Bagnano has a wonderful feeling, but every place Rinpoche stayed has got a wonderful healing. So, Lilia, you can never sell your house or anything. I'm sorry, like we're all the same. There's like no way I cannot sell my house because Rinpoche's been here.
Yeah, right. The blessing energy is so strong.
No, really.
Yeah.
He went around blessing many, many places around the world. And he said also in the future, when things are bad, the places with blessings, not just his blessings, but anyway, places with blessings will be okay when the world becomes really bad.
Yeah, from the environment, from all the crazy stuff going on in the environment. I remember one time when he came to New York and we had these beautiful yellow tulips. We had rented one space to have so he could give some teachings. And then we had them on a stand, these beautiful yellow tulips on either side. And I love flowers. And then we brought the tulips back to the apartment. And, we were there and doing pujas and prayers. And then when Rinpoche left, and we took him to the airport, and I came back to the apartment, and the tulips were the most magnificent, yellow, vibrant. They radiated this light coming out of these tulips. It was so magnificent. And and the whole energy in that apartment changed after that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Also, actually, after Rinpoche passed away, many people told me they offered flowers to his image, his picture, and the flowers never died.
Wow.
One person had them for 6 months.
Really?
They were just in a vase. 6 months, like cut flowers, and they were like,
Wow.
Yeah, so that's completely true.
We have this family of cardinals, a male and a female cardinal. And now this spring I saw the male and female babies. And the male is this exquisite red color. The female is more muted and has a beautiful beak. And this red cardinal flies around. And I've always had this connection to this bird. But ever since Rinpoche left his body, I literally get these incredible messages and feelings from this bird. So, for example, when my husband, Rick, had to go to the hospital a couple months ago, since I've known him, he's never been sick. He has incredible health. We were nervous about it, and we didn't really know what to expect. And so the morning before we were to go to the hospital, I go out on the front porch to check the weather, and this red cardinal is on the tree right in front of the door. And this was in January, so you don't really see that many birds in January where we live. And so this bird is singing at the top of its lungs right in front of the door. So I stopped and I looked up at the bird and I just completely got quiet. And then the bird became completely still, and a stillness that permeated the whole neighborhood. And then, of course, I became completely still. And in those moments, I knew that everything was going to be okay. And it was. We went to the hospital and everything went really, really smooth. I know that was Rinpoche's energy.
In the Buddhist teachings, they give this example that a Buddha can manifest as an animal, a bird, a bridge, your best friend, your enemy, whatever form is helpful to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's why also we should not be so dismissive of messages, around us.
Yeah.
Because we have this very narrow view of, oh, this person can help me, yeah. But on Borobudur, they have the Gandhavua and the pilgrimage of Sudana. This everyman who has 52 teachers from every walk of life, yeah. So in the Buddhist tradition, we have this idea that if you're open, even other beings actually can help you if you're open to it.
Yes. And that openness is really so important. Some people, I introduced to Rinpoche, they didn't really get how extraordinary he was. But that openness, can you say a little bit more about that? Because our culture is, so much about if I can't see it, it doesn't exist, or this very, kind of limited point of view. Can you say more about that openness to this energy?
What do you mean, about perception or the people? I mean, perception.
Yeah, perception. Yeah. How does one become more open, especially nowadays when there is so much, negativity and criticism?
There's two things. One is to be open to other people. Yeah, I think with Rinpoche, he had an overwhelming sense of empathy, so he couldn't help it. It was just like a compulsion to be nice to people and kind to them.
Compulsion, right?
It's like the Buddhist view is that everybody is profoundly good. In the depths of everybody's consciousness, even terrible person, horrible person, is pure, but their mind is obscured by delusion, by negative actions. But everybody has that fundamental goodness and positivity. So I think Rinpoche is related to that. I think that's what we have to do. I mean, of course, it depends on the person, but generally, just to have empathy to everybody you meet, and then people actually change, react back to you in the same way. I mean, I see that a lot, actually, with just normal people, I always try to be kind, try and do what Rinpoche said. And I find people so positive.
Towards you.
Just people want some small gesture of kindness, of empathy, Rinpoche always said you need to look people in the eye, say, how are you? Just some small thing of kindness, because people, they don't even do that anymore.
Yeah, right.
Just show that you actually care.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many people that they're not beautiful, they're not young, they're not rich, and they're just kind of neglected. And just, it costs nothing to be kind to people, does it?
Yeah, and can make such a difference. Yeah, it is medicine. Yeah.
Maybe the whole day nobody said anything nice to them, so it's like, oh, so nice.
Give them an inner smile.
Well, also give them value as a
And
person.
value. Yeah, be known, be seen.
One of my friends here in Malaga is a bin lady. Yeah, okay, one of our organisers of our Dharma centre.
Uh-huh. What does that mean, a bin lady?
Garbage. She does
Okay.
cleaning of the streets. She tells me like how badly people treat her. I say, actually, you're doing a social service, because if you don't do that, we will all be sick. Yeah, so actually,
Yeah,
you're all
exactly.
doing social work actually. And she goes around. She has a little truck, no? She goes around with her truck up doing Om Vajrasattva Samaya.
Does she really? Why, really? Oh, I love that. I love that. Guys, I remember when I first met Lama Gangchen, I was reading all kinds of books, all kinds of Dharma books, The Way of the White Clouds, so many of these incredible books. And I remember reading this one story about this one person who was cleaning toilets. They had the job of cleaning toilets, but they brought this motivation of service and to keep their mind, in a joyful, peaceful state while cleaning the toilets. That made such an impact on me so that when I would, literally clean toilets, which is such a dirty job, I always remember to bring this mind of peace and joy cleaning the toilets. And so no matter what our job is, we can see this as a service and something that's a way to practice.
Well, an important concept in Buddhism is interdependence. And actually, we need everybody's work. We should respect them, because actually we need it,
Oh, I love that.
If there was nobody, I don't know, sitting in the toll booth, like a very boring job, or cleaning the toilet or whatever, it would be very difficult for the rest of us. So we should respect everybody for their kindness, for helping us, or creating all these facilities that we need.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. And then the prayer, of all the people that brought the food to us. If you consider the food that we eat, there's millions of people who touched that chain of the food, right? And to thank them for their efforts to bringing, our dinner to us or our lunch.
It's very important to have respect for everybody, and I think people don't. They're very hierarchical and stuff. And I think this is something that Rinpoche was really a master of. Didn't matter, like I say, billionaire, beggar, left, right, whatever, same. And he truly gave the same love and attention to everybody. And this is like a winning combination.
Yeah, incredible. I remember one time in Milan that we were leaving Milan, going somewhere, I don't remember, maybe to Albagnano, I don't remember exactly where we were going, but he asked whoever who was driving to literally go out of our way so he could go to where the homeless people were to give them money.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of the prostitutes also, they're giving them money. And then I went back to New York, and, in New York, there's so many people who are asking you for money, and so many homeless people, unfortunately. And I remember thinking, who am I? Some of my friends would say, oh, I don't give them money because they're going to use it for drugs or alcohol. But I remember walking, being down the street and thinking, I want to be like Lama. I want to be like him. So I would start to do the practice of giving money, even if I only had a small amount to give them, just because they asked me and they needed it.
To be like Rinpoche, you need a big pocket here on your
yeah,
shirt,
right.
And then you put your hand in, and whatever you touch, you give. If it's 50, 100, that's how he was doing. No? So, I mean, like me personally, I have like this bag, yeah. So when I go shopping and I put the coins in there, then all the time it's full of people, okay, different people begging, I need this, I need that. So then I give a little bit to all of them. Or I give some food or something, but I try.
Yes.
This is something even just human feeling. You give some little food or something, some soup. And actually, they really like it because it's just recognizing, on a human level.
Yeah. And if they ask for it, that means they need it.
But it doesn't have to be a lot, but who am I to judge what they do with it? I mean, they're all humans, they're all suffering. Maybe give them a kit of soup with add hot water, so at least they have something to eat. For example, if you're worried they might be doing drugs, well, they need to eat something.
Yeah, right. They still need to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who am I to judge? I totally agree with you. But can you say something more about this pocket of Rinpoche's? He had this pocket that seemed like it was like one of those, I forgot what it was, like a cartoon where it was endless. It never stopped. It was always this coming out of his pocket, this money to give to people.
Well, this is the karma. If you want to have a lot of resources, need to give. So he was continuously giving. Today I was thinking, some things to share on this podcast, and I remembered one story. One time he was in Varanasi in the train station. He had like this bag full of money to give to the monastery, but he left this bag in the train station and then went to the south of India. Then after 2 days, he realised, the bag of money. Yeah, okay. So then you sent a monk back to the train station, and it was still there, the bag of money, which is like
Really?
impossible possible, because there's no way if you leave a bag of money in any train station, it will be there
Yeah.
after 2 days. But it was all there. So then the monk got the money, took it to the monastery. Then Rinpoche said thank you, and then he gave it all away.
Gave it to the monks. Wow.
Anyway, if you want another time, you're welcome to invite me back.
Yes, definitely.
There's endless amounts of Rinpoche-related stories, okay, which are true.
For sure, because you are just an ocean of stories and wisdom of
Well,
Lama.
I mean, I spent 30 years following Rinpoche around. I told you I was an anthropologist living with Lama. That was my subject, because I really wanted to know who was he, what's an enlightened person like in the modern times. Rinpoche showed his teachings in practical ways. He wasn't there, first point, second point. He wasn't teaching like that. He was teaching through his actions. That's why he said, I'm a method Lama. I bring solutions, and he did it by showing us. So that was his teaching. In this situation, what do you do? Okay, we do this, we do that. Okay, so then we do our best to be a little more like that. When you on the spiritual path, you don't emulate somebody exactly. You try and improve yourself and be true to yourself, be authentic. But of course, you see these great masters who've developed themselves in such an incredible way, and you think, okay, me too. I try, see what happens.
Yeah, I want to be like them.
So you'll not be exactly like them. You'll be the best you, actually.
Your best you, right? But have some of their qualities, their enlightened qualities.
Yeah, but in your ways. Yeah. So American Buddhism is also fine. Tibetan Buddhism, American Buddhism, Italian Buddhism, whatever, all fine. All positive people, fine. Yeah. Don't have to all be the same.
Yeah. Please, if you could close with a prayer for us.
I'll do a small dedication prayer. So there's a famous Buddhist sutra, and one verse it says, how do you keep a drop of water? You keep it by putting it in the ocean. So every time you do something positive, you give some light to others. Anything positive you dedicate. That means you give away the energy. You put in the ocean, in the collective consciousness. And that's how it will remain. If otherwise you think, I need for me, then it just dries up and it's finished. That's why we always give it away, deposit it in the collective, yeah?
Beautiful.
Okay. Ni modele sendele, ni me kuya handele, shi ni senta tu dele pel, kuncho sungi jingi lo, kuncho sungi nudruso, kuncho sungi hitashi sho. At dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the three jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, grant me their blessings. May they help me to achieve all realizations and sprinkle the path of my lives with various manifestations of those, okay? So may everything in my life become positive, be of service, everything. There's nothing that's not the path, okay? That's a very important idea in the Tibetan Buddhism, okay?
Beautiful.
Anyway, Lilala, thank you very much. I very appreciate your job doing this podcast. So please interview as many people as possible.
I will.
No, many of Rinpoche disciples have incredible stories. Please, as many as you can get.
Yeah, we would continue, and thank you so much. And we would love to have you back for another part of your incredible stories. And thank you for all the work you're doing, Lama Caroline.
No, it's a pleasure, and I rejoice in this podcast. Please continue, okay?
Yes, I will.
Many episodes.
Yes. Yes, and we make it available all over the world. Yeah, such positive message.
Please do.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Wow, love this conversation with Lama Caroline. And this is a recording we could listen to multiple times because there's so much pearls of wisdom here to apply to our daily life and to really think about and contemplate and to come back to, time and time again. And one of the qualities that Lama Caroline has that is so extraordinary is her humility and also her clarity. She has just clear way of explaining the Buddhist teachings and Lama Gangchen's teachings in a really practical way that we can apply to our daily life. and just open up another portal, another perspective of how we can look at our life that's much more rich and meaningful and less anxiety, less fear, less pain, less tension, less stress. So incredibly useful. And one thing that is really extraordinary about Lama Caroline is in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, it's very traditional. And you don't see as many women lamas. There are more and more, now in our modern times, but we don't see as many. And many times I've witnessed Lama Caroline, being in different ceremonies, pujas or teachings where she was the only woman. And to be in those settings is not easy. And yet she has this incredible resiliency and she knows her path. She knows she's a Lama. She knows she has attained a level of clarity to teach the Holy Dharma and to teach Lama Gangchen's teachings. And she continues and she has this incredible resiliency, perseverance, and like I said in our introduction, enthusiasm, just this boundless enthusiasm to share the inner peace teaching. So she's just a true inspiration. So I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. And if you'd like to find out more information about Lama Caroline's teachings, you can go to ngalso.org, ngalso.org, and look for streaming. She has many, many, many teachings on our streaming channel, which you could find on YouTube, also through ngalso.org, and many books that she has translated and written that you can find also on ngalso.org. We'll leave the link in the description, along with our Facebook link, our website, lamahealer.com. If you have a question, please go to lamahealer.com and ask us a question, and we may take that question in a future episode. And you can follow us on Facebook on Life with a Lama Healer. And please share these episodes if you're enjoying these conversations, share them with your friends. And stay tuned for our next episode. And in the meantime, be well, be peaceful, and thanks for joining us. Lama Kien.
Lama